Hello, and welcome to Intermediate English with Gregg. That's me. So, let's get started. Let's warm up with the weather.
Gregg, how's the weather today?
It's pouring. It's pouring today. Pouring. Let's check the board. The question, how's the weather today? For today's answer, it's pouring. This word, pouring. Now, do you remember the previous lesson? We did the idea it's raining cats and dogs. Raining cats and dogs means heavy rain. But one more way to say heavy rain is this word, pouring. So when it's raining very hard, you can use the previous lesson, it's raining cats and dogs, or today's phrase, it's pouring. Well, let's practice today's phrase. I'll ask the question, and please use today's phrase. So, how's the weather today? Great. Now, for today's lesson. Now, for today's lesson, we are continuing to talk about the restaurant. Whether you are the customer or maybe working at the restaurant, maybe you can use some of these phrases. In today's situation, we're talking about the restaurant, part 2, but we're talking about maybe some simple problems people have at the restaurant. Today we're going to talk about 3 situations. One situation is at the table. Another problem is with the order. And the final one is with the payment. Now, most of these are not so difficult. There can be a variety of problems. Here are just a few. Let's look at the first one at the table. It's using this idea that something is dirty. So maybe the glass is dirty, maybe the spoon is dirty, but the word dirty, it's just not clean. Another situation is to use the word dropped. That I dropped something. Now, dropped means, of course, otoshita. So maybe I dropped my fork on the floor. Or I dropped my chopsticks on the floor. So I dropped something. Another case that sometimes happens is this word, I spilled. I spilled something. The word spilled, of course, means koboshita. So this is usually a drink or a soup. So maybe, I spilled my coffee. Or I spilled my soup. Sometimes people have this problem. Or maybe about the temperature in the restaurant, like, it's cold. And then there may be a request, for example, could you turn down the air conditioner? Now, it might be not an air conditioner, but, for example, it's cold, could you close the window? But maybe the temperature in the restaurant is too cold or too hot. So, some simple situations at the table. Now, moving to an order, we have 2 phrases that have the same meaning. Sometimes you order something, it comes, and this is not what you ordered. You could use these 2 phrases. One, I didn't order this. Or you could use the second one, this isn't what I ordered. So whether you're the customer or maybe the staff and you hear this, sometimes there is a mistake with the order. Sometimes there's a problem with the food. For example, they might say A is too something. For example, it's too salty. Maybe the chicken is too salty. Or maybe you say A is not enough. Of course, the word not enough means jubun janai. So maybe, for example, maybe the meat Okay? For example, the meat is not cooked enough. Okay? Maybe it's beef, but the customer wanted medium. For example, a steak, they wanted medium, but the steak is a little rare. So the meat is not cooked enough. Okay? Now there is one more situation at the restaurant. For example, maybe I ordered A, but it hasn't come yet. Maybe when you're waiting a long time, excuse me, I ordered the pasta, but it hasn't come yet. Okay? So that's one more case with orders. The final one, here are 3 simple ideas with payment. One, the customer might look at the check, look at the total and, okay. It might say, I think the total is wrong. Okay. Maybe there's a mistake, so I think the total is wrong. Or maybe they use a credit card. Okay. But after swiping the card, maybe this card cannot be used. So, for example here, I'm sorry, your card was not accepted. Okay. So whatever credit card they used, it was not accepted. Okay. Or there might be a case, for example, I'm sorry, we can't take credit cards. Okay. Or maybe that cashless idea, I'm sorry, we can't take the PayPay or those cashless apps. Okay. So sometimes the card's not accepted, okay. Or sometimes maybe the restaurant doesn't have, for example, for the cashless, they don't have the right equipment to take the cashless payment or a credit card payment. Okay. Now, these are just some of the very simple phrases. Okay. Now, our next lesson, we're going to review these and use them in some situations. Okay? So, don't worry, we will talk about this again. But that's all for today. See you next time.